The golden age of Hollywood and music was filled with glamour, fame, and fortune. But not every star's story had a happy ending. In this video, we'll explore 50 beloved actors and singers from the golden age whose lives took tragic turns, leading them to live their final days in poverty. Behind the spotlight, these icons faced financial ruin due to health issues, career declines, exploitation, or bad luck. Their stories serve as poignant reminders of the fleeting nature of fame and fortune. Let's begin with the lives of some of the brightest stars who faced financial hardships in their later years. Bela Lugosi, known for his iconic portrayal of Dracula, became a victim of typecasting that severely limited his career options. Despite being a beloved figure in the horror genre, Lugosi struggled to find roles outside of Gothic films. His financial troubles worsened due to health issues, including chronic pain and addiction to morphine. By the end of his life, he was nearly penniless, working in low-budget films to survive. Lugosi passed away in 1956 at the age of 73, leaving behind a legacy as a horror legend, but a sobering reminder of how fame alone cannot guarantee financial stability. Judy Garland, one of Hollywood's most celebrated performers, was adored for her role in The Wizard of Oz and a string of musical hits. However, despite her success, she struggled with financial mismanagement, expensive legal battles, and mounting debts. Garland's relentless performance schedule, combined with personal hardships, drained her finances. By the 1960s, she was living in near poverty, performing in small venues to make ends meet. Tragically, Garland died in 1969 at the age of 47 from an accidental overdose. Despite her financial struggles, her remarkable talent and enduring legacy continue to inspire generations of performers and audiences alike. Joe Louis, the legendary boxing champion known as the Brown Bomber, became an American hero after his iconic fights in the 1930s and 1940s. Despite his success, Louis faced financial ruin due to mismanagement, heavy taxation, and charitable contributions that went unreciprocated. The IRS pursued him relentlessly for back taxes, and his earnings were depleted over time. In his later years, Louis worked low-paying jobs and relied on the kindness of friends. He passed away in 1981 at the age of 66, remembered not only as a boxing icon, but also as a tragic example of how fame can be fleeting. Hattie McDaniel, the first black actor to win an Oscar for her role in Gone with the Wind, faced immense racial discrimination during and after her career. Despite her historic success, she was typecast into servant roles, limiting her earning potential. Housing discrimination also barred her from living in certain affluent neighborhoods. Financial hardship worsened after her health declined, and she passed away in 1952 at the age of 59. McDaniel's story is a testament to her resilience in the face of systemic obstacles and an enduring legacy as a trailblazer in Hollywood history, despite her financial struggles. Dorothy Dandridge made history as the first black woman nominated for an Academy Award for her performance in Carmen Jones. However, despite her groundbreaking success, she struggled with financial hardship due to failed marriages, poor financial decisions, and limited opportunities in a racially segregated industry. Dandridge's career declined after being offered few meaningful roles, and she faced mounting debts. By the time of her death in 1965 at the age of 42, she was nearly penniless. Dandridge's story remains a tragic reminder of the racial barriers in Hollywood and the emotional and financial toll they took on talented performers like her. Errol Flynn, the quintessential swashbuckling star of classics like Captain Blood and the Adventures of Robin Hood, lived a lavish lifestyle filled with luxury, travel, and expensive parties. However, his extravagant spending, coupled with legal battles and failed investments, left him deeply in debt. Flynn's career waned in his later years due to his declining health and struggles with alcoholism. By the time he passed away in 1959 at the age of 50, Flynn's finances had dwindled, and he left little behind but his unforgettable legacy as one of Hollywood's most charismatic leading men. Frances Farmer was a promising actress known for her beauty and talent, but her career was tragically cut short due to severe mental health struggles and controversial institutionalization. After being diagnosed with schizophrenia, she was placed in psychiatric hospitals where she endured brutal treatments, including electroshock therapy. Her finances were drained as she spent years trying to recover and reclaim her life. Farmer's attempt at a comeback was brief, and she lived out her later years away from the spotlight. When she passed away in 1970 at the age of 56, she was nearly forgotten, her story serving as a haunting reminder of the cost of untreated mental illness. Patsy Cline, one of country music's most iconic voices, was at the height of her career when she tragically died in a plane crash in 1963 at just 30 years old. Despite her musical success, her estate was left in financial disarray, as she had not amassed substantial wealth during her short career. Royalties from her hits provided some support for her family, but her early death meant she was unable to fully benefit from her growing fame. Patsy's enduring legacy and posthumous recognition have solidified her as a trailblazing figure in country music history, though her life was tragically brief. Buster Keaton, a silent film genius known for his incredible physical comedy and groundbreaking films, faced severe financial troubles during the transition to sound films. After losing creative control over his work and suffering from personal setbacks, including a failed marriage and struggles with alcoholism, Keaton declared bankruptcy in the 1930s. However, he managed a modest comeback later in life, thanks to television appearances and small film roles. Despite earning some recognition before his death in 1966 at the age of 70, Keaton's financial hardships remain a reminder of how even the greatest talents can struggle in a changing industry. Tierney, celebrated for her stunning performances in films like Laura and Leave Her to Heaven, battled severe mental illness throughout her life. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Tierney endured numerous breakdowns and hospitalizations, which took a toll on her career and finances. Despite her early stardom, she was forced to step away from acting for long periods, which led to financial instability. Although she attempted a comeback in the 1960s, she never fully regained her former status. Tierney's later years were spent in relative seclusion, and when she passed away in 1991 at the age of 70, she left behind a legacy overshadowed by tragedy and resilience. Anna May Wong, the first Chinese-American movie star, broke barriers with her performances in films like Shanghai Express and The Toll of the Sea. Despite her immense talent and international fame, Wong faced systemic racism in Hollywood, often relegated to stereotypical roles while being denied leading roles opposite white actors. Frustrated by the industry's limitations, she worked abroad and on smaller projects, but her finances suffered. In her later years, she lived modestly, unable to secure the roles she deserved. Wong passed away in 1961 at the age of 56, leaving behind a groundbreaking legacy overshadowed by the injustices she endured. Paul Robson was a celebrated actor, singer, and civil rights activist who became a global icon for his work in films like Showboat and his commanding presence on stage. However, his outspoken political beliefs and criticism of racial injustice led to his persecution during the Red Scare, resulting in blacklisting and the revocation of his passport. Unable to perform internationally and with limited work opportunities in the U.S., Robson faced financial ruin. His health declined in his later years, and he spent his final years in seclusion. He passed away in 1976 at the age of 77, remembered as both a revolutionary artist and a victim of political repression. Mickey Rooney was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, famous for his roles in the Andy Hardy series and numerous musicals. Despite earning millions during his career, Rooney's finances were decimated due to bad investments, multiple divorces, and financial mismanagement by his handlers. In his later years, he struggled to make ends meet, relying on small roles and public appearances. By the time of his death in 2014 at the age of 93, Rooney's estate was worth a mere fraction of his former fortune. His life serves as a cautionary tale of how even massive fame and wealth can vanish without proper protection. Billie Holiday, the legendary jazz singer behind classics like Strange Fruit and God Bless the Child, struggled with addiction and legal troubles throughout her career. Despite her musical brilliance, Holiday's finances were drained by arrests, exploitative contracts, and legal fees. Her struggles with heroin addiction led to frequent arrests, and she was even denied a cabaret license, limiting her ability to perform. By the time of her death in 1959 at the age of 44, Holliday was nearly penniless. Her tragic story remains a symbol of the exploitation faced by black artists, but her unparalleled contribution to music remains timeless. Fatty Arbuckle was one of silent cinema's biggest stars, renowned for his comedic genius and physical humor. However, his career came to an abrupt end in 1921 when he was accused of assault and manslaughter following a scandalous party. Although he was acquitted after 3 trials, Arbuckle's reputation was irreparably damaged, and he was blacklisted by Hollywood. Struggling to find work and facing financial ruin, he directed films under a pseudonym to survive. Arbuckle passed away in 1933 at the age of 46 from a heart attack, a tragic end for a man once considered one of the greatest comedians of his era. Rainey, known as the Mother of the Blues, was a pioneering figure in early 20th century music, famous for her rich, powerful voice and her influence on the genre. Despite her success during her prime, she faced financial hardship after stepping away from the music scene in the 1930s. Without the steady income from performing, she lived modestly, relying on her savings and income from a boarding house she managed. Rainey passed away in 1939 at the age of 53, her legacy cemented as one of the most significant contributors to the history of blues, despite the financial struggles she endured. Charlie Parker, the revolutionary jazz saxophonist and one of the founders of bebop, redefined modern music with his extraordinary talent and improvisational genius. However, his personal life was marred by addiction, which led to financial instability. Parker's drug and alcohol use, combined with exploitative contracts and mounting medical expenses, left him destitute. His health deteriorated rapidly, and by the time he died in 1955, at just 34 years old, he was broke and dependent on the kindness of friends. Despite his tragic end, Parker's impact on jazz remains profound, with his music continuing to inspire generations of musicians. Ava Gardner was one of Hollywood's most glamorous and sought-after stars, known for films like The Barefoot Contessa and Mogambo. However, behind the scenes, her personal life was tumultuous, with 3 high-profile divorces, most notably from Frank Sinatra, leading to costly settlements. Additionally, Ava struggled with health issues and moved to Europe to escape the pressures of Hollywood. In her later years, she faced financial challenges, relying on a close friend as her health declined. Gardner passed away in 1990 at the age of 67. Though she struggled with money in her final years, she remains a timeless symbol of old Hollywood allure. Maria Montez was a Dominican-born actress who became a symbol of exotic beauty during the 1940s with her roles in Technicolor adventure films like Cobra Woman and Arabian Nights. Her Hollywood fame began to fade after the war, and her career declined as studios moved away from the lavish genre films that made her a star. Montez relocated to Europe in search of new opportunities, but financial struggles persisted. Tragically, she passed away in 1951 at the age of 39 due to a heart attack. Despite her short life, she is remembered as a trailblazing figure for Latina actresses in Hollywood. Ethel Waters was a groundbreaking singer and actress whose career spanned Broadway, Hollywood, and jazz clubs. Known for her powerful performances in films like Cabin in the Sky and Pinky, she was also a pioneering vocalist with a unique style. However, financial struggles plagued her later years due to poor financial decisions, medical expenses, and a dwindling number of roles as she aged. By the time of her death in 1977 at the age of 80, Waters was living in near poverty. Despite her hardships, she left behind a legacy as a trailblazer who broke barriers in both music and film. Carmen Miranda, known as the Brazilian bombshell, captivated audiences with her vibrant performances and iconic fruit-adorned headdresses in films like That Night in Rio. She became one of the highest-paid entertainers of her time, but her extravagant lifestyle, along with supporting her extended family, drained her finances. Despite her fame, Miranda was often overworked and felt isolated from her home country. She struggled with health issues and passed away suddenly from a heart attack in 1955 at the age of 46. Although her legacy as a cultural icon endures, her story reflects the toll of fame and financial instability. Veronica Lake, a stunning actress best known for her iconic peekaboo hairstyle and roles in films like Sullivan's Travels, faced a steep career decline after World War II. Struggles with alcoholism and erratic behavior led to fewer roles, and she eventually faded from the Hollywood spotlight. By the 1960s, Lake was living in poverty, working as a waitress in New York to make ends meet. She later attempted a modest comeback, but remained financially unstable until her death in 1973 at the age of 50. Her life became a cautionary tale of how Hollywood can discard its brightest stars. Nat King Cole was one of the most beloved crooners of all time, known for timeless hits like Unforgettable and Mona Lisa. However, despite his immense success, Cole faced significant financial challenges during his life due to systemic racism, high taxes, and legal disputes. After his death from lung cancer in 1965 at the age of 45, his estate struggled to maintain financial stability. While his family eventually regained control of his music catalog, Cole's early death and financial hardships highlight the difficulties faced by Black entertainers during that era, even those with monumental fame. Ironie Ryan is best remembered for her hilarious portrayal of Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies, which brought her late career success. However, despite her fame, Ryan faced legal battles and financial issues related to her estate. She was also generous with her earnings, often supporting friends in charitable causes. Her sudden death from a stroke in 1973 at the age of 70 left her estate in legal disputes, with much of her fortune being tied up in expenses and unresolved claims. Ryan's story is a reminder that even late-in-life success can be marred by financial woes and unexpected challenges. Al Jolson, the legendary performer known for The Jazz Singer, became one of the most influential entertainers of his time, famous for his larger-than-life stage presence and booming voice. However, Jolson's lavish lifestyle, multiple marriages, and constant spending left him with far less than expected by the time of his death in 1950 at the age of 64. Despite earning a fortune during his career, much of it was spent on luxury items, legal fees, and his philanthropic contributions during World War II. Jolson's financial legacy serves as a sobering example of how even the wealthiest stars can face unexpected financial ruin. Joan Crawford, an Academy Award-winning actress known for films like Mildred Pierce and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, was once one of Hollywood's most powerful stars. However, her later years were marked by declining roles, financial instability, and isolation. After being dismissed by Warner Bros., Crawford's fortune dwindled due to extravagant spending and expensive legal battles. She withdrew from public life and passed away in 1977 at the age of 73. Her final years were lonely, as even her relationships with her children were strained, culminating in the infamous revelations in Mommy Dearest, which further overshadowed her legacy. Louis Armstrong, one of the greatest jazz musicians of all time, revolutionized music with hits like What a Wonderful World and La Vie en Rose. Despite his immense global fame, Armstrong's finances suffered due to poor management and exploitative contracts. He was generous with his money, often giving to friends, family, and charities, but this left him vulnerable to financial instability. Though he continued to perform well into his later years, health issues began to limit his appearances. Armstrong passed away in 1971 at the age of 69, remembered as a beloved jazz icon, though he faced financial challenges until the end. Barbara Payton was a Hollywood bombshell known for her beauty and charisma. She starred in films such as Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, but her career was marred by scandal, substance abuse, and toxic relationships. Her public downfall was widely covered, and she eventually descended into poverty, living on Skid Row and struggling with addiction. Payton attempted to write a memoir to regain financial stability, but never escaped her troubled life. She died in 1967 at the age of 39 from liver failure, becoming a tragic symbol of Hollywood's darker side, where fame can fade as quickly as it rises. Edith Piaf, the iconic French songbird behind La Vie en Rose and Non, Je ne regrette rien, captured hearts worldwide with her emotional voice and tragic personal story. Despite her success, Piaf's life was plagued by health problems, failed relationships, and financial troubles. She faced massive debt due to medical expenses and legal fees, spending her final years trying to stay afloat while continuing to perform despite her deteriorating health. PF passed away in 1963 at the age of 47, leaving behind a legacy as one of the most influential performers in history, though her final years were marked by hardship. John Barrymore, known as the Great Profile, was one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, starring in classics like Grand Hotel and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. However, his career was overshadowed by his struggles with alcoholism. His extravagant lifestyle, legal troubles, and declining health led to financial ruin. Barrymore's later years were spent borrowing money from friends and taking small roles to survive. By the time he died in 1942 at the age of 60, he was nearly broke, a tragic end for an actor once considered one of the greatest of his generation. His life remains a cautionary tale of fame lost to addiction. Ella Fitzgerald, known as the First Lady of Song, captivated audiences with her impeccable voice and timeless jazz hits like Summertime and Dream, A Little Dream of Me. Despite her incredible success, Fitzgerald's estate faced financial struggles due to poor financial advice and mismanagement. She was known for her generosity but lacked proper guidance when it came to her earnings. In her later years, Fitzgerald struggled with health issues, including diabetes, which led to the amputation of both legs. She passed away in 1996 at the age of 79, leaving behind a lasting legacy despite the financial hardships she endured. Judy Holliday was an Oscar-winning actress known for her unforgettable role in Born Yesterday. Despite her talent and critical acclaim, Holliday's career and financial stability were cut short by illness. Diagnosed with breast cancer at a young age, she faced mounting medical expenses while her work opportunities declined. She fought bravely but eventually passed away in 1965 at just 43 years old. Her untimely death and the cost of her treatment left her estate strained. Holliday's story is a tragic reminder of how illness can devastate even the most promising careers and personal finances. Marvin Gaye, the iconic soul singer behind hits like What's Going On and Sexual Healing, was one of the greatest voices in music history. However, his personal life was tumultuous, with tax issues, legal battles, and addiction draining his finances. Gaye's struggles with debt forced him to flee to Europe in the early 1980s. Despite a career resurgence with his Grammy-winning hit Sexual Healing, he remained in financial distress. Tragically, Gaye was shot and killed by his father in 1984 at the age of 44. His death shocked the world and underscored the heartbreak of his troubled final years. Clara Baow, known as the original It Girl of the 1920s, was a silent film superstar famous for her charisma and style. However, her career declined with the transition to sound films, and she faced emotional and financial struggles. Baow suffered from mental health issues and was often exploited by those around her. After retiring from Hollywood, she lived in relative isolation, away from the fame she once commanded. She passed away in 1965 at the age of 60, having endured a life marked by both stardom and personal suffering. Her story remains a symbol of Hollywood's fleeting nature. Joseph Ferrer, an acclaimed actor known for his role in Cyrano de Bergerac, became a respected figure in theater and film. Despite his early successes and multiple awards, Ferrer struggled with financial hardship in his later years. He took on various roles, some less prestigious, to provide for his family, and his health declined as he aged. His personal and financial struggles made it difficult for him to maintain the comfortable lifestyle he had during his peak. Ferrer passed away in 1992 at the age of 80, remembered for his brilliance on stage and screen, despite his financial difficulties. Hank Williams, the country music legend behind songs like Your Cheatin' Heart and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, revolutionized the genre with his heartfelt lyrics and distinctive voice. Despite his massive success, Williams struggled with addiction and chronic health issues, which derailed his career and finances. His reckless lifestyle led to canceled shows and unpaid debts. Tragically, Williams died in 1953 at just 29 years old, while en route to a performance, broke and battling his demons. His untimely death left behind a complicated legacy of genius and tragedy, cementing him as a country music pioneer whose life ended too soon. Lena Horne, The groundbreaking singer and actress, known for her roles in Stormy Weather and her captivating voice, became a symbol of elegance and resilience. Despite her immense stardom, Horne's finances were burdened by family debts and her support of civil rights causes. She faced systemic racism throughout her career, which limited her earning potential and forced her to fight for fair pay. In her later years, medical expenses also strained her finances. Horne passed away in 2010 at the age of 92, leaving behind a legacy of brilliance and activism, though her estate bore the weight of financial hardships. George Raft, famous for his roles in gangster films like Scarface and They Drive By Night, had a real-life reputation that mirrored his on-screen persona. Despite his Hollywood fame, Raft was notorious for his gambling addiction and lavish lifestyle. He made several bad investments and loaned large sums of money to friends without repayment. Additionally, his ties to mob figures tarnished his reputation and led to fewer film offers. By the time of his death in 1980 at the age of 79, Raft's fortune was gone, and he was living modestly, relying on the kindness of friends to make ends meet. Patsy Montana, a trailblazing country singer known for her hit, "I Want to Be a Cowboy's Sweetheart," was the first female country artist to sell over 1 million records. Despite her early success, Montana struggled to maintain financial stability as the music industry changed and her popularity waned. She continued to perform in small venues to support herself in later years. Although her influence on country music remained significant, she did not reap substantial financial rewards during her lifetime. Montana passed away in 1996 at the age of 87, remembered for her pioneering contributions despite the financial hardships she faced. Montgomery Clift, an acclaimed actor known for his roles in A Place in the Sun and From Here to Eternity, was one of Hollywood's most talented stars. However, a near-fatal car crash in 1956 left him physically and emotionally scarred, causing his career to decline. Clift became dependent on painkillers and alcohol, which further damaged his health and drained his finances. He took on roles to cover his mounting medical bills but struggled to maintain his former status. Clift passed away in 1966 at the age of 45 from a heart attack, leaving behind a legacy of brilliance marred by tragedy and financial ruin. Josephine Baker, the legendary entertainer known for her dazzling performances in Paris and her role as a spy during World War II, became a global icon with her groundbreaking career. However, Baker's fortune was depleted as she devoted her life to civil rights and humanitarian causes. She adopted 12 children from different backgrounds, creating her Rainbow Tribe, and used her wealth to support them while advocating for racial equality. Unfortunately, her generosity and financial mismanagement led to bankruptcy. Despite this, she continued performing to support her family until her death in 1975 at the age of 68. Her legacy as an activist and performer endures. Freddy Prince, the charismatic star of Chico and the Man, rose to fame quickly in the 1970s with his sharp comedic talent. However, behind his success was a young man struggling with immense pressure, depression, and substance abuse. Prince faced mounting financial problems due to expensive lifestyle choices and career-related stress. In 1977, at just 22 years old, he died by suicide, shocking the entertainment world. Prince's tragic death remains a cautionary tale of how sudden fame and financial burdens can exacerbate mental health struggles, cutting short a promising life and career. Harry Nilsson, a celebrated singer-songwriter known for hits like "Without You" and "Everybody's Talkin'," was renowned for his exceptional voice and songwriting skills. Despite his success, Nilsson battled financial ruin later in life due to excessive spending, failed investments, and ongoing legal troubles. His lifestyle took a toll on his health, and he was further devastated by the murder of his close friend John Lennon. By the time Nilsson passed away from a heart attack in 1994 at the age of 52, he was struggling financially. Nevertheless, his influence on music remains immense, with his songs continuing to captivate new generations. Dolores Del Rio, the first Mexican actress to achieve international fame in Hollywood, was celebrated for her beauty and talent in films like Bird of Paradise and Maria Candelaria. However, after the end of her Hollywood career, Del Rio returned to Mexico. where she reinvented herself in acclaimed films, but earned far less than she had during her prime. She lived a modest life and faced financial challenges as she aged, relying on friends and former colleagues for support. Del Rio passed away in 1983 at the age of 78, remembered as a trailblazer for Latina actresses who endured the highs and lows of global stardom. Richard Burton, a Shakespearean actor turned Hollywood superstar, became one of the highest-paid actors of his time, known for his roles in Cleopatra and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. However, his volatile lifestyle, tumultuous relationship with Elizabeth Taylor, and extravagant spending habits drained his wealth. Burton's love of luxury, multiple marriages, and health problems from heavy drinking left him in financial distress. Despite earning millions throughout his career, he faced significant debts toward the end of his life. Burton passed away in 1984 at the age of 58, remembered as a brilliant actor whose lavish lifestyle overshadowed his financial stability. Greta Garbo, the enigmatic star of Camille and Ninotchka, became one of the most famous actresses of the 20th century before retreating from the public eye in the 1940s. Known for her desire to be left alone, Garbo never returned to acting after her early retirement. Although she was rumored to have amassed significant wealth, there were whispers of financial instability due to high living expenses and a lack of income from new projects. Despite these rumors, she lived a quiet, modest life in New York until her death in 1990 at the age of 84, remaining a symbol of mystery and grace. Billy Dove, one of the most glamorous silent film stars, captivated audiences with her performances in films like The Black Pirate. However, with the transition to sound films, Dove retired from Hollywood at the height of her fame in the early 1930s. After stepping away from acting, she lived out of the public spotlight, dedicating herself to her family and painting. Though she lived modestly in her later years, she did not suffer publicized financial ruin, but she also never reclaimed the wealth and fame she once had. Dove passed away in 1997 at the age of 94, remembered fondly as a star of the silent era. Lon Chaney Jr., best known for his role in The Wolfman, struggled to escape his father's shadow and faced severe typecasting in horror films. Though he appeared in dozens of movies, he was often paid modestly and struggled to find roles outside of the horror genre. Health issues, including alcoholism, further derailed his career and finances. By the time he passed away in 1973 at the age of 67, Chaney was living in relative obscurity with little to show for his decades in Hollywood. His life remains a cautionary tale of how typecasting can limit even the most talented actors. Sammy Davis Jr., a talented member of the Rat Pack known for his exceptional singing, acting, and dancing, achieved immense success and earned millions during his career. However, he faced significant financial challenges due to poor management, tax issues, and lavish spending. Despite being one of the highest-paid entertainers of his time, Davis ended up owing millions to the IRS and had to work tirelessly to manage his debts, even as his health deteriorated. Diagnosed with throat cancer in the late 1980s, he passed away in 1990 at the age of 64. Despite these struggles, he remains celebrated as one of the greatest entertainers in history. Charlie Chaplin, the iconic comedian behind The Tramp and City Lights, transformed cinema with his creative genius and powerful social commentary. While he achieved worldwide fame and wealth, he also experienced financial challenges due to expensive productions, legal issues, and his relocation from the United States during the McCarthy era. Accusations of communist sympathies led him to settle in Switzerland after being unable to return to the U.S. This distance from Hollywood impacted both his finances and his legacy. In 1972, he was honored with a special Oscar, and he lived modestly until his death in 1977 at the age of 88, remembered as a trailblazer in cinema who triumphed over numerous challenges.